Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I assumed your genders. I'm joining here today. You're joining me rather. Here I am on the Suffolk coast, down on the beach. Beautiful day, but as you can see in the background there is a storm coming. Those who know will understand that, but I wanted to bring you down here today. It's an absolutely beautiful day, but I wanted to talk to you. Welcome back if you're joining me again, or welcome if it's your first time here. Glad to have you along. Really pleased that you're joining me for this journey. Today is Saturday, the 16th of October. I'm saying the date because this, I think, will be significant in the future. I'm going to be talking about a subject today I'm calling the purge. Now, I have... the reason I wasn't going to make this video today. I was going to make something completely different. But you know, this week has been an eventful week where there's been a massive purge of channels from YouTube, especially, that we're talking about this particular letter here, the 17th letter of the alphabet, the Great Awakening, and the tagline being, "Where we go one, we go all." Now, to me, that sounds, not divisive, but rather bringing people together. Where we go one, we go all. I mean, if that doesn't say, we are together, we are one people. We are. It doesn't matter what color skin you are, where you're from in the world. We are all in this together. And I don't want to say those words. We're all in this together because governments have co-opted this horribly and are using this as a tagline for their stupid political campaigns. But this movement, I can't say the letter, it's the 17th letter of the alphabet, because all the channels on YouTube, there must have been about 30 of them, In Pursuit of Truth, And We Know, Red Pill 78, what else have we lost? There's a lot of channels that have been purged off YouTube because they dared to talk about this particular subject, and subjects that ran counter to the mainstream media narrative. Now, I have an issue with this. I take a massive issue with this. We have laws, very clear laws that govern hate speech on the internet. Those laws, very clearly set out the platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Google, of course. They're hot on those, and the laws are very clearly set out that what you can and can't say legally. But here they are, and it's got nothing to do with legal ramifications. They've done nothing. These channels have done nothing wrong as far as law, but YouTube decided to purge them from their platform because they dared to speak about things that YouTube didn't want them to. Now, the issue here is that it's not a legal standpoint that they've been thrown out for, but rather an ideological standpoint that YouTube has changed the rules, and they keep on changing the rules all the time. So they keep on moving the goalposts of what you can and can't say, and how you can put things. So it is there. It's no longer the law that is governing what you can and can't say, but rather a tech platform. And that should be troubling to us all. Now, we have these tech monopolies. We have YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Google, are all very left-leaning tech companies out of Silicon Valley, and they all work in collusion with each other. I like that word, collusion, after all the Russian collusion nonsense we've had to listen to for 3 years. They're colluding with each other to make sure that there are no dissenting voices to their political biases. There was a gentleman by the name of Alex Jones last year that was thrown off every platform, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, but he was also banned from using PayPal, lots of different payment platforms. He was basically banned off the internet. Okay, so it's not because he said anything illegal. They just disagreed with his ideology. he said things that were controversial. I'm the first to admit that. I mean, he's obviously, insane, which is, I would be deemed to be insane by a lot of people as well. But, do I deserve to lose my ability to use the internet and to monetize the internet? The issue is that, YouTube, when it was set up, was set up to be designed to be able to share files with each other, funny videos, cats playing the piano, all sorts of things, dogs licking their own ass, all sorts. You name it, it's on there. And it has been for many, many years. It's been widely used. It's the video platform, if you like. It's very well put together. It's there's big channels on there. Some of these channels that have been banned, there's about 30 channels all in all that have been banned from using YouTube. And these are with hundreds of thousands of followers. They're not just little pissant channels like mine. They are big platforms that were sharing information that have been taken out because they're ideologically run different than the tech platforms that run the platform. Now, that word there, platform, is the sticking point in all of this, okay? Platform. Now, the reason I bring that word up is because all these platforms, these tech platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they have built themselves as being the public square, okay? So they are protected under a law called Section 230 of the Communications Act. Now, Section 230 of the Communications Act basically holds, they don't hold the platform, let's just say, for instance, that I go onto their platform, I go onto YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, and I say something that is against the law, hate speech, that the platform isn't responsible for that speech. They have to remove it, but they're not legally liable for that speech. It's my liability, and this is the way it should be, because the people who use those platforms are bound by the laws of the land, that you're not allowed to use those words or that speech that is hate speech. You're not allowed to promote violence against people, hatred of a particular religion, ideology, sexual preference, or gender. The law is clearly defined, and the benefits of the platform being a platform rather than a publisher is that you're not liable for the speech that's made on those platforms, which is great. Well, it should be. But the problem is that these platforms are no longer platforms, they are publishers. So they are governing what speech can and can't be said on their platforms based on their political bias. Now, you don't have to believe me. There's videos you can watch of after the 2016 election where Donald Trump got elected. There was the head of Google, I think it was addressing his staff where he said, we're all upset about this, but we have to make sure that come the next election that we do everything in our power to make sure this never happens again, that Donald Trump is never elected again. Now, we've had to listen to 3+ years of absolute garbage, nonsense, the worst reporting ever in history of this planet. And I use that word very loosely. Where we've heard about Russian collusion, Russian interference in the American election. Now, if this is an election interference where you have tech platforms that are censoring information that run counter to their narrative, where they're trying to support one candidate over another, then this should be illegal. They are no longer a platform; they're a publisher, so they should not be protected under Section 230 of the Communications Act. And they're actually being called before Congress as we speak. They're American companies. Now, I've heard it said by more than one person, well, they're private companies, they can do whatever they want. They can set their own rules. Fine. But as I said, from their very inception, they have built themselves as being the public square, where you can come, discuss ideas, share thoughts, opinions, and debate them, which is the way that the world should work. And that's the way it has up until Donald Trump got elected. And then we have the situation where certain types of political speech or discussions are not allowed on their platform. To the point where you have the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, who's awesome, by the way, mother, press secretary to the White House, gets banned off Twitter for sharing a newspaper article that was done in the New York Post about a certain politician who's running for president, his son being found in compromising situations. Let's put it that way. Go and do your own research on that. Now, we've also been told by the media, by the mainstream media and these tech platforms, that this letter here, the 17th letter of the alphabet, is spreading hate speech. It's clearly not, and I urge you all to go and do your own research and go and look at the posts from this person group to see what they're saying. What they're saying is they're urging you to go and do your own research about topics that we have been told that we can't discuss. There's no hate speech, there's no threats of violence, nothing like that. I don't know what you've heard, I don't know what you've been told, I don't know what media you're listening to, but if they're telling you that this is a hate movement, then they're lying to you. Straight up, it's propaganda. And but like I say, don't believe me. Go and look for yourself. Go straight to the source. Don't rely on a third party to tell you something. Like I say, this is what I say is my opinion. But go and do your own research. Go and look for yourself. Now, here's the problem with the internet. And this is the problem that I have with this whole purge thing, is that these tech companies are all working together with each other to decide what you can and can't see. So if you go and Google something, you're not going to get the same result as if you use a different search engine like DuckDuckGo or Bing. Go and test it out, Seriously, go and test it, because you get different search results, because Google governs what you can see through their platform and what you can't see, of course. YouTube, Twitter as well, they make up their own rules. Now, these platforms are so big, they're monopolised. They monopolise information. And politicians have allowed this to happen for so long, because they're supported by these platforms. Let's put it that way. Now, it's not all left. It's not all Democrat and left-leaning. There are others who are, let's just say that they're compromised, who also push the narrative of that this group is hurtful, they're promoting hate speech, that they're promoting violence against anyone, because they are being leaned on. And there's lots of different ways that happens. It could be that they're compromised because of things that they've done in the past, things that they're still doing, money, or threats of violence. And the power and control that comes through these platforms with what you can and can't say should concern us all. And when you have, there was about 30 channels that were taken down off YouTube, about 30, totaling millions of people that followed these channels, millions. We're not talking, little channels, millions of people that were involved. They're not allowed to see that information anymore. Why? Why is it so dangerous? Why is it so dangerous to share an idea and question the narrative? Where we go one, we go all. I mean, does that sound divisive? Really? I urge you to go and look. I'm not going to even give you the site to go and look at, because I don't want this video to be banned because I'm talking about this 17th letter of the alphabet. It's ridiculous. That's how far the world has gone. It was shifted so far away from any kind of normality where we can't even have a discussion about the narrative that we're told is the absolute truth. Now, when we're talking about absolute truths, we're relying on science. We rely on science. We rely on the media to tell us these truths. This is absolute. It's 100%. I mean, I've read along the way that broccoli causes cancer. Ridiculous. Then we heard another piece of science that said broccoli doesn't cause cancer. It helps cure it. I can't use that cure word either, because we can't say cure anymore. But the problem is that the information that we're fed how do we know it's true? You know, and if you have a few different companies that are deciding what's true and what's allowed to be said, that's manipulation, folks. And we should all be concerned about that. Now, I lived in London for a lot of years. London's got the most amount of cameras of any city in the world, apparently. Now, we're told that's for our safety, the public. We're told that's for our safety. It's not. There's still crime on the streets. People still get stabbed. People still get shot. There's still a lot of knife crime, gang violence. There's a lot of crime, and that doesn't help them solve it. You know, it's not for our benefit. You know, here in the UK, guns are banned. People still get shot. We're told that the guns are illegal because it's for our safety. But criminals don't care about the law. They don't care. If they want a gun, then they'll go and get one. I could get a gun. I'm not going to because I don't want a gun. But the problem is, if you're the average person, they have these laws that are there to protect us. Criminals don't care about the laws. That's the whole idea of being a criminal, is you don't care about the law. You're going to do whatever you want anyway. Now, we have a situation in the US where they have their rights protected under the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Now, whether you agree with guns or whether you don't, I don't. I'm not going to say I agree with guns, but you have a problem where you have politicians and the very people that are telling you need to get rid of guns, like actors. Celebrities know best. Celebrities know best. Remember that. When you have an actor telling you, how you should think, we've got some serious issues in the world. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's telling us how we should live. He's the guy that made a documentary about climate change and bought a $30 million house on the water. Celebrities know best. We should all rely on celebrities to get our information from. And that goes for politicians as well. Now, we've all heard that saying, those who can't teach. I think that's a bit mean, but the reality is that people who are academics that go to school their whole life and then they stay in school and become teachers, that's not I'm not banging on about teachers, I'm not trying to say that, but quite often you have people that have never actually worked in a real world scenario going and teaching other people to do things. And it's the same with politicians. You have politicians that have never been out in the real world, never run a business themselves, never really had to operate in the real world. They've been politicians their entire life. And they're governing how the average person lives. They're so disconnected from reality and from people in real life like you and I. How can they possibly understand what it's like to be you or be me? These are the people that fly around the world in private jets, get wined and dined and have corporate sponsors. Really, like they're a race car driver. Corporate sponsors for a politician. It's astounding. But these are people that have never been out in the real world, never run a business, and they're running the country. They're making laws that we all have to live by, and raking in millions while they do it. They have inside information that allows them to make money through stocks and shares. And, it's called insider trading if I did it, but if they do it, that's all fine and good, and that's legal. There's a massive disconnect with how everything runs at the moment and what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to share. Now, the issue I take with all of this information censoring and people censoring is that, for instance, these channels have been banned, okay, that share the information from this person here, okay? Whether you agree or whether you disagree, it's kind of irrelevant because they didn't break any laws. But, these people have been banned. Their channels have been banned. And we still have on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, channels and pages that openly promote paedophilia, bestiality, ISIS. But we can't have a conversation about questioning the information that we're provided. Just take a moment to think about that for a second. There are politicians here in the UK, in America, in Australia as well, that are introducing bills to be passed into law that want to allow having sex with children. Seriously, there are, okay? And the law is stating, with the child's consent. What kind of sick, perverted, demented thing, I won't even call them a person because they're not people. I mean, anybody that wants to do that to a child is reprehensible. I mean, they're just, you know, there's TED Talks where they're trying to normalise paedophilia and saying it's not, you know, it's a sexual preference, it's not sick, it's a sexual preference, and these people can't help it. The same way as people who are gay, you know, they can't help being gay, they're just gay, they're attracted to the members of the same sex, there's nothing wrong with that, that's fine, you know, consenting adults can do whatever they want. But when you have people, you know, promoting and putting forward legislation to legalise it, bestiality as well, I mean, how does an animal, you know, consent, you know, just move if you want it, cow, you know, this is where we've come to. And this is where when these people, the same people that are trying to promote this kind of nonsense and allowing it to be on their platforms, you know, promoting ISIS, promoting bestiality and paedophilia on their platforms, but yet they're taking out channels like, you know, that talk about questioning the narrative. We need to really seriously think about where we're going. We need to be able to have conversations, especially about topics that you know, run counter to the narrative, especially about those topics, because if we can't, where are we headed to? Now, as I always do, I don't want to leave you feeling bad, because this is a tough subject to talk about, and I don't want to be talking about it all the time. It's nasty when you have to constantly be talking about things that are not beneficial to society, but, you know, detrimental. I mean, really, when we have to talk about people being the ability to have conversations when we can't have those conversations, when we have to have conversations where we are talking about people having the inability to have a conversation, it does worry me, and it does concern me, and it does bring me down. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to live that way, and I don't want you to live that way either. We shouldn't have to. So if there's a positive that comes out of this, there are a lot of people in the world. I mean, there is a small minority of people that are trying to push this kind of garbage on the rest of us, and they will lose. It's as simple as that. It's a small amount of people that are controlling this information, and the small amount of people that are in government that want to suppress us. It's a small amount. We are, by far, the majority. Now, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not advocating rising up and taking pitchforks and, you know, setting fires or anything ridiculous like that. But our voice, you know, if we all lift our voices and we all share information with each other. Hello, how you doing? If we all lift our voices and have conversations, you know, in person where we can, because you know, in a lot of places in the world we're still locked down. You can't get together with more than 6 people here in the UK. I mean, it's ridiculous. But we need to be able to have those conversations with each other and recognise that we have more in common than the small things that we don't have in common. So we might not all share the same political viewpoint, that's fine. We might not all share the same sexual preferences, and that's cool too. We might not all share the same language, that's awesome. We might not all, you know, all the differences that we have, they don't define us. Well, they shouldn't. It's the things that we share and that we have in common that should define us. And that's where we have to come together and speak out against the divisiveness that's coming through the mainstream media and these tech platforms that are controlled by a very, very small group of people. And I believe it is with nefarious direction in mind. So there are people that are out there who are fighting on our behalf. Let's put it that way. This movement that I would urge you all to go and look at. You know, I'm not going to tell you. You know, you need to read it for yourself. It's not hateful. It's not. It's not turning people against each other. It's just asking questions and asking you to question. And you know, sharing information. It's up to you to go and research it. That's what they do. That's what they promote. It's going and doing your own research and looking at different things that might allow you to see a bit clearer without the veil of suppression that we all have over our eyes from these tech platforms and from the internet, the governance of the internet. There are some things happening in American Congress because there are American companies that are run here. They've called the heads of these platforms Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg. Now, before we go any further, Mark Zuckerberg didn't create Facebook. It's a lie. Go and look at. Yeah, it didn't. It's not real. I mean, it's go and look at LifeLog, Project LifeLog. It was a DARPA program. Zuckerberg's the head of it, but he didn't create any code. He's nothing. So don't believe what you're told. Don't buy into Libra as well, the Libra coin. Don't do it. It's a trap. I urge you all, if you're looking for profits, go elsewhere. Don't look at Libra. But look, let's get on to the positive here. Look at where I am. Look at this. 16th of October. I'm walking on a pair of shorts. Woo! And a t-shirt in October. Yeah, even if it was snowing out here, I'd still be out here. Because it's important to have the conversation. I urge you all to step away for a little bit. Step away from the media. Step away from the hatred and the vitriol. Step away from all the people who are going to call you names if you dare to share information that runs counter to their narrative. People are caught right now in a trap where the only information they are provided with is divisive. So some of your friends might disagree with you, and that's cool because they're not able to see beyond what they're being told right now. We are on the verge of something very, very big. You know, there's a message that we're waiting on, which I believe will be coming very, very soon. I think this hatred and this divisiveness will end after November 3rd election in America. I think there are some big arrests coming, let's put it that way. I think everyone's going to be kind of surprised. But, you know, I urge you all not to stress too much. Don't panic. The world's not going to end. We're all not going to die from a virus. And the spell, if you will, that's been cast over us all. Spell, that word, that's been cast over us all to keep us divided and keep us angry, keep us hating and all those kind of things is being lifted. There are powerful forces at work here, and this all sounds a bit cryptic and sounds a bit, I don't know what the word I'm trying to work out is, but I don't want to be saying particular words or phrases or, you know, because I know how these tech platforms, the algorithms work. And I don't want to be picked up for it. So don't worry, don't panic. Everything's going to be okay. You know, for those religious people out there, God wins. For those people who believe in science, there's a equal and opposite force in the universe that the universe operates on. It's been tilted too far one way for a long time. It will equalize, and everything will turn out just beautiful. You know, I'm just some dude on the internet who's walking along a beach. So, you know, you don't have to believe anything I say, you know, but realistically, take some time, breathe, you know, get out into nature, breathe, take some time for yourself, and really follow your heart, not through manipulation of the media. Follow your heart. Look to your friends, look to your family, look to those loved ones that are there for you and listen to you, and you know, share what you see. If you like what I'm saying, then share that. You know, all I'm doing is asking questions and asking you to do questions as well. But you know, while you're here, hit the like button. That helps me. It helps me to get the message out there. My channel's small, but you know, with your help, and you know, hopefully if you like the content, you're going to share it. But give it a like, give it a dislike if you don't like it. That's cool as well. I don't mind. But share the information. Subscribe to the channel. Come back and see me soon. The next talk I'm going to be doing was the one I was going to do today. That's really going to shock a couple of people, but I think it's important that we talk about it. Have a wonderful day. Be good to each other. Share some love, and don't be misled by the media. Everything's going to turn out just fine. All right, love you all. Take care. I'll see you all soon. Bye.